Welcome back to episode 20 of the RCC podcast. With the extended team now that we've introduced everybody to. So, for anybody that is listening for the first time today, we've got Freddie, myself, Scott, Jamie, and Kayleigh, and we've also got our guest of the week, James, who's just another extended member of the RCC family. And we thought we'd do this one because we've all ran recently and just about finished some fairly big events. We'd like to debrief on, I think, because I know Brett and Andy did a shout out to us already the other day about our half marathon episode in Middlesbrough, so we can talk about that. And James is here as well because he also achieved something great there. But most of all, like, Kayleigh's now an official ultra runner. So, yeah, I think we should hand straight over, really, and say how you feeling, because you're fresh up. We're not even 48 hours out of it, so we 48 hours?
Yeah, just about, I think, yeah. I'm all right. It's, to be honest, my stomach has been in bits until about 2 hours ago. That's been the hardest bit, but body-wise, I was struggling a little bit last night with the legs, but this morning, another good sleep and I was fine. So I'm quite impressed with how my body's held up. But like I say, I was not like expecting the stomach. Oh, my stomach's been horrendous. Like, not like anything grotesque, like having to go to the toilet or anything like that. Just really sore. Like, I've had no appetite, considering I didn't eat much on Sunday during the race because that's when it started. I've just really, really struggled. I finished basically without going into it, because obviously we'll debrief the races and I want to hear you guys talk about Borough, but I came home on Sunday night. I'd really struggled to get fueling through the race. And I had a curry for my tea and it didn't stay in my stomach for very long. And then I had a slice of toast and went to bed. And then I've really struggled to eat ever since. But today, I bought some good old probiotic today, and that seems to have sorted us out, because tonight I've had my tea and I'm like, I actually want to eat food now. I've just devoured half a bar of dark chocolate before I came on here and I feel all right. So I think we're on the mend.
Let's get into it though, Kayleigh. Let's go. Tell everyone what event was it?
So I did the Kingdom of Northumberland. I've actually got my medal, but I didn't want to wear it because I thought Freddie might fall out with us. I've got my medal. It's Kingdom of Northumbria on here, Coastal Ultra, which was just short of 34 miles from Bamburgh Castle to Druridge Bay on Sunday.
Amazing. And I love the medal because I actually came, for those that don't know, I came to watch Kayleigh finish. And the first thing she said to me with the medal is, doesn't it look like an air freshener for your car?
Doesn't it? Doesn't it look like something you would hang in your car? Like, I feel like I just need to spray it with perfume and like leave it hanging from the...
Is it metal or wood?
No, wood. They're always wood from Wild Deer.
Right.
But yeah, I was just like, I love Wild Deer, so there's no criticism at all, because I do think they're a really good company. But I was really disappointed that we didn't have the choice to get a T-shirt, because I'm not normally a T-shirt gal, but like when you've just finished an ultra, it was like you got a beanie and it said ultra beanie, which they've called this beanie that ultra beanie, but it's literally just a brown hat with like a little red deer on, which they do them at most of the races, like you can buy them anyway. And then the medal, and then obviously you got like a drink and a snack and that sort of thing. But they've just announced for next year and you get a T-shirt next time. And I was like, oh, like I wish we'd had a T-shirt, because it might be the only one I do. So I want to have the like bragging right.
That will not be the only one that you
I was
do.
just going to say, you read my mind there. You'll be back.
Not a chance. Not a chance. That's the only one. But let's get into it. I mean, I know when you did a recce of most of that route, probably 2/3 of that route, a few weeks back. Right. And I think it was safe to say that day was pretty wet, pretty cold, pretty miserable. Contrasting to what you got on race day though, right?
Yeah, I think that's why I struggled with my stomach, to be honest, because I did not expect the heat. I'm not very good in the heat anyway. And I know like March heat isn't intense heat, but when you've had no heat for all of your training and then you have heat, it was like night and day, the difference. The day I trained up there, it was hailstone, it was blowing a gale with wind, it was chucking down on and off all day. And then Sunday was like the first touch of sun we've had.
It was gorgeous here, wasn't it?
In months. And I made the mistake of like, I set off with a long sleeve on because it was really foggy at Bamburgh. So I was like, well, there's going to be like fret coming off the sea. So I was like, I'll wear I'll still wear my waterproof, it's breathable, but I'll put a thin long sleeve underneath. And I got about 4 miles in and I was absolutely boiling. But then I was like, I'll just wait till I get the aid station and then I'll take it off. And then by that point, I was absolutely roasting. And then about 10 miles in, like, my stomach was just awful. Like, I just felt as if I couldn't eat anything because I just felt so sick. But I think it was the heat that was making us feel like that. But, like, I powered through. It wasn't, like, horrendous where I couldn't eat at all. But it was, like, it was probably the hardest I've had to deal with because I had none of that in training. And I think that's all I'm putting it down to, the fact that it was just so warm. But it was one of those things. It was like I got the aid station in the middle. So it was like 17 mile. And they were like, what do you want? And I was like, I've got absolutely no idea. Like, I don't want anything that I'm carrying and I don't want anything that's on there. And the guy was like, do you want to sit down? And I was like, nope. I don't want to stand back up again. So I was there like 2 minutes and I was off again. But I just couldn't. They gave us a piece of chocolate cake, but like a little round thing. And said, oh, that sugar will get you going. And honestly, I had 2 bites and I was like, oh, no thanks. But yeah, that was the hardest. That was the hardest bit. Like, I don't think I've really like accepted it all yet. Like, I was expecting the aftermath to feel different. I don't know why. Like, I was really happy, like, when I finished, more so because the last 3 miles felt like it went on forever. But then I don't know what I was expecting. Like, I thought I was going to have this, like, you have a runner's high after a half and stuff. I was like, oh, it's going to be like really big because I've done this big challenge and I was just knackered. Just like, I just want to go home and just sit on my sofa.
Eat your curry.
Eat me curry. That didn't stain. That was the best thing that could happen, though, in some ways. As awful as it sounds, being sick was probably what I needed to do all day. But then after that, I had a bath and I felt like 1,000,000% better. But like I say, just the last 2 days, I've just hardly eaten anything. Which is not like me. You all know me and I like my food. And I was like, oh, I can't even feel. I mean, I've been off work and my favourite thing to do is go out for brunch. I've been off 2 days and like...
I haven't seen one Instagram photo.
I know. What's going on? I know. The most I've mustered is a cup of coffee. I did have some soup today out because I was like, I'll just have something light, and that was nice. But then I'm hoping tomorrow I can like make up for it. But yeah, it was really good. I don't want to make this podcast all about me because I want you to talk about your races. But
but I've still got a couple of things I do want to ask you if you don't mind. Say move on if you want me to.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You can. I just don't want to. I'm aware that when I start talking, I don't stop. So just like mute as if like...
No.
This goes on as long as the ultra.
Yeah. I was going to ask you because, I mean, you did that training run, like I said, a few weeks before, and that was 28 mile, 27?
Just short.
Yeah,
just short.
And when I got up to Druridge Bay, and I bumped into Chris straight away as soon as I got up there, and I asked him how you were getting on. And he explained a little bit, but he said, I think it was around 13 miles. Is when he spoke to you and that was straight away where you were like, oh, I'm not feeling good here. Something's going on. And I was really quite shocked because you did that 28, like you ate that up almost like it was nothing a few weeks ago, and then you're at half that distance more or less. And Chris said you were going through it. What was that? Your stomach already, or was that other things?
Just my stomach. My legs were fine. Honestly, like the training really, really paid off. Like my legs were absolutely fine. Like even on the morning. As daft as it sounds, like I wasn't nervous about the distance because I did that long run where I did the end with you. And I thought I put weeks of training in, like I'm so ready for this. Like I just need to like go out and enjoy it. And then, like I say, I'd had none of the issues with my stomach in all the training. Like I had one run, like a 16-mile run where my stomach wasn't great, but like I don't struggle with my stomach ever. Like I'm quite good at like, can pretty much eat anything and be fine. Like, and it was just a really hard thing to explain. It was kind of like, I never felt like I was going to be sick. I just felt really queasy. And
can you relate? Because you're probably the most experienced ultra runner in this call right now. When we first interviewed you, you told the story about the situation you went with the gels and it knocked you for 6, and then since then you've kind of really nailed your nutrition side of things down. But have you ever had that same kind of
yeah, like the feeling that you can't eat anything, but you want to eat something. to be honest, I get it quite a lot when I'm racing. You end up sort of kind of almost forcing yourself through it. You have to still eat even when you don't want to. I get it more in short course, shorter races. That's a bit different, but yeah, in enduro, I got that overnight for sure. Like there was a couple of laps like through the night, and I felt sick. Yeah, it's hard to explain. Is
there a way to combat it, or do you just have to ride it out?
You still have to keep eating. If you stop eating, you're done for. Like you have to not much, but you have to get stuff in, and don't worst case fall back to a gel. But I try and avoid them at all costs in ultras because I find them not great. But I think most people get this problem. I don't think it's unique, but it's not fun when you've had it for the first time. I actually had a small question for you, Kayleigh. How did you find sleeping the night of the ultra? Could you sleep?
Like the night before or the night after?
No, the night after. So when you've done the ultra, got back, could you sleep?
I did sleep, but it was very broken. But then I get that quite a lot after racing. So even if I'd raced a half marathon, I would get that. But I felt as if I'd had quite a good sleep, but my watch told a different story. Whereas last night, I felt like I hadn't slept as well, but my watch was like, oh, restorative, that's so much better. Like, because I'd gone to bed on 9 training readiness after the ultra, so I still had 9 left. And then I woke up in the morning on 1. So that was when you I'd slept rubbish. But no, I slept better than I thought I would have. But I did feel shattered on Monday, really tired. I didn't move from the sofa for after we walked the dog, I didn't move for about 2 hours. Chris had a training thing he had to do for work, even though he was off. So he was on a call upstairs, and I literally sat, and he came back to me and he went, "You haven't moved." So I was like, "I know." I was like, "I know I need to go out, but I just need to build myself up to it." And I was just literally looking on my phone. I had some lovely comments. Rachel shared it in the strollers group, and I wasn't going to put a post on because I couldn't even collect my thoughts afterwards. I was like, I can't be bothered to do this now. And then there's so many posts on, so I was like, oh, I'll just put a post on. And I was reading through all the comments and stuff, which was really nice of people. But yeah, it's a funny one. But the sickness thing, like you said, Jamie, I did eat at the same reason, because I was like, well, I've never done this before, and I know I'm not going to get through it without food. So I think all I managed to have was, I had a gel. I always have a gel at the beginning. So I think I had a gel at about 6 mile, because I'd had breakfast not long before I set off. And then I think I had a bite of flapjack, and then, well, this will tell you, the jelly snakes I'd been training with, I didn't even touch it till about 15 mile, because I just was like, I cannot even. And the chicken wrap has been my saviour, but if someone showed me a chicken wrap now, I'd punch them in the face. I was like, I cannot even think about eating a chicken wrap now. I kept thinking, I need to eat it because that's what I've trained with. It's real food.
That's like the runner's version, that one drink everybody has where it brings them back to being a street or in a gutter somewhere, and they smell it these days as an adult and want to. Describe the runner's pew.
I think I could do it again. It's just too soon. I was like, and this chicken wrap, right? This is the funniest story. So I stayed in a hotel the night before, which was a weird experience in itself as well, because I got there and there was no one there. The door, I couldn't get in. That was the first bit. And then when I got in, I was just in it was a lovely little hotel. I was in a tiny little room, and I took, one of those packs that you use when you've got an injury that's got the gel inside, and you put it in the freezer so you can have it hot then cold. I was like, how the hell am I going to keep this chicken wrap from going disgusting? So I took this thing out of the freezer and wrapped it around the chicken wrap. The chicken wrap was wrapped up, and then put it in the bathroom on this muscle thing. So I was like, I don't want to have food poisoning tomorrow of this dodgy chicken.
I wonder what your sickness feeling was caused by now. Probably was the ultra.
Honestly, I'd like to blame the chicken wrap, but I barely touched it. And then when I did, I was trying to swallow this dry chicken, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, this is the worst thing ever. The best thing I had on the course was a packet of ready salted crisps. thank God to the people
Oh.
who brought the ready salted crisps. I think I had 3 packets of crisps on Sunday. I never eat that many crisps.
Yeah.
But at the end as well, they were like, "What snack do you want?" I was like, "Crisps." I just want crisps. I was like, keying in the crisps on the way home. But yeah, but as far as ultras go, if anyone's considering it, it's a really, really good first ultra, I would say, because it was quite well marked out. There were a few people who would keep going, "Where is it?" Because they say it follows the English coastal path, but there were some sections where you kind of on near it rather than on it. So I had the course on my watch, which really helped. And it was very well marshalled on all of the turning points. And I would say it was quite a safe course. There was plenty of people in the race.
I'm going to ask how many participants were there, because there's quite a few people I only know through the Instagram running community that I've never met in real life, but with loads of people I've recognised on there taking photos with the medal at the end that had obviously done it as well. So there was obviously a fair few people.
I think it was 500.
Really?
Which was big, but they split it over 2 starting waves. So like there was a half 8 one for like the people who needed longer, because the cut-off was 6. And they'd put me in the faster wave, but they said the cut-off was 5 o'clock, and I was like, from 10 till 5, 7 hours seems tight. Like, but then they said, "Oh no, we're extending it to 6 for people who were in the second wave, so you've got a bit longer." So I knew I'd be in 8 hours. And then I thought I'd be about 7:10, 7:15, and I came in at 6:55, so I was over the moon. I know it's not about time, but like I was over the moon at that. And when I looked at my splits, there was a couple where you could tell I didn't stay long at the aid stations, but the last aid station, Chris came and met us, so I stood and talked to him for a little bit, and I think that was my longest split. But the rest, I think I was averaging on overall, it was like 12-minute miles with the walking and everything. But on Strava, you know, it takes off you've got your moving time, and your like total time. So my total time was 6:55, but I think my moving time was like 6:38 or something. So I was quite pleased with that. I didn't think that was too bad for my first one.
That's
so
good.
I'm the only one.
What's the only one for now? I'd like so when you start having stomach problems and it gets tough, and you know from 13 miles onwards, it sounds like you had a bit of a battle. Was there a point at all where you were like, "Do you know what? I've had enough. I'm done." And if there was, what did you do to get through that?
There wasn't.
There wasn't.
But only because I was like, "We don't quit."
Right.
Absolutely not. Like, there was no way I was not finishing that race. Even when it started, I was like, "I'll get through it. Like, it'll be fine." I've watched videos of people thrown up in the gutter and then carrying on. And I was like, I just kept saying to myself, well, you're not being sick. You're still eating. You're not poorly. Like, you're okay. Like, just your legs are fine. You still can run. So, like, I did record it. Like, I haven't edited it all properly yet, but there is some clips where I'm like, I'm just going on the camera. We don't quit. We don't quit. Like, it's not. There's no way that we're quitting this race today, because I think I did pass people, and you do wonder, because there was a couple of people I passed and they were like, "Oh." One guy had rolled his ankle, which is terrible. He was like, I'm going to hobble to the halfway point and then I'm going to stop. And then there was another guy at the third aid station that had done his calf. Something had happened to his calf, and he was like, the more I walk on it, the worse it gets. But I know a few people did drop out. And I was just like, I think I would literally not have to be able to move to drop out, which I suppose is a good thing for that sort of a race. But I was just like, I want to get to the end. Like, I want to get that medal.
Do you know what, Kayleigh? It sounds like you've got the absolute perfect attitude for Endure 24. We don't quit.
You've said it.
I don't know, like.
But that race is different though, because you can just do one lap.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the same. If you want something stupid, there's something like Race to the Stones, which I did, which is a point-to-point by the same company. Great. It's really good. The reason I mention it is because it's great for beginners, because there's essentially no cutoff.
Yeah.
I think there is, but it's like massive. Like, it's said like 2 days. It's a huge cutoff. But yeah, the race that Freddie mentioned, you could just do like a 5-mile loop and then get drunk.
No,
We're not doing
right.
that.
I did say this to Freddie afterwards. I can see why it's such a popular thing, because not having to carry your fuel is so much better as well. Like, and having those options like the hot food and things like that. Where I know in the last podcast, Jamie, we were talking about the real food thing and that, like, which I think that is half my battle. I think if I'd had more real food options, that might have been easier for us. But I just trial and error, isn't it? Like, until you do one, you don't really know what you're going to need on the day, and anything can happen. But I worry about having a do not quit attitude for something like that, because I just think me and Chris had this conversation, and he was like, I'm not doing that. Like, he went, because my leg would be hanging off, and I'd be like, nah, I'm going again. He went, Freddie and Scott would be like, yeah, I'm going for another one. He'd be like, all right then. So I don't know, but I'm not thinking about the next one. I was just like, going after what I said last time, let's just appreciate the fact that it's done now before we start looking at something else. Because, like, when they did the early bird, loads of people have signed up again, and I was like, do you know what? I'm good. I feel like I've done it now. That course I've done now. I'm happy with me time. I'll get me little stats up. I was pleased with me stats. So I was 213, so it was 392 overall. I was 25th out of 43 in the age category, but that was senior, and I'm the top of senior, so I thought that was quite good as well. And I was 56th woman out of 148.
Oh, get in.
So it's all right, innit? Like, I was quite pleased with that. So,
You should be.
So yeah, I had a really lovely day. But it is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, it was much. I underestimated it with the training. I was like, I'm so ready for this, but I cannot believe that people turn up to those races and don't do any training. How the
What? No, no way would you be that crazy.
Honestly, I swear to God, as sure as night and day, there was people that turned up that race that did not train for it. Wow. And the winner did it in 4 hours. 4 hours for 50.
There is as I race generally kind of towards the frontish on the ultras, and there's people ahead of me that are just wild, like absolute lunatics. They're running like sub-3 marathons in the ultra.
Yeah, it's
you can't explain how crazy that is.
With the waves, I set off, like, I was sort of, because I was staying nearby, I went down before the waves set off, so I knew at some point all these fast runners were going to start like caning it past us. And I'm running, it's about 6 miles in, I'm running through these like dunes, and there's just all these blokes just hammering past us. No one's speaking, head down, locked in. And I was like, this is not what people told me ultras were like. I'm going, everyone's like,
I think it kind of depends, because like your race was about 33 miles, was it?
Yeah, 54.
You can get away with, like, if you train a lot for sort of marathon distance, you can get away with hammering that pretty hard. Because on a 33 mile, that's why I'm like head down, went till 21, grind up the hill, 170 beats a minute, something ridiculous, brilliant, breathing out your eyeballs. But for a 100 miler or a 100k race, I'd start off and don't do what I do and roll your ankle on the first kilometre. But that wasn't fun. But like, it's way more like you set off at a casual pace, because you can't win the race in the first 50k.
Yeah.
You can definitely lose it if you hoof off unless you're like an elite and you know exactly what you're doing. The every ultra I've done, I'm just been so glad that I've especially for the one that we should not mention, the speed that we started off at was, I mean, for us it was like 6 minute 7-minute kilometer pace for us, which is like 3 minutes, nearly 3 minutes, not 3 minutes, 2 minutes slower than what we normally run at. And we walk everything that resembled any kind of lump, we just walk immediately straight off the start line. It was surreal. You get off the start line, you're walking, just having a nice chat. It
was good as it progressed, because I think then you end up in a pack with people where not necessarily similar pace, but a few people had been humbled by that point. So you kind of them.
or they got the death march on early and you're like, oh, you're going to be in for a bad day.
Yeah. And there was a group of us that like kept passing each other, which was quite nice because one would be ahead and then one would be behind. And some people were spending longer in the aid stations than I was. I was like, I just want to get in and get out. Like, and I wouldn't have stayed at the last one as long had Chris not been there. But I wanted, like, that was what got us through to, like, when I was struggling, knowing that Chris was going to be at the next one. So that was quite nice. But yeah, there was a few people that definitely went off way too fast that I passed later on. But yeah, it was a lovely day. Like, when I look back, like, I spoke to some people, like the lad I had my photo took with at the end called Frank, and he was just a young lad, like, and he was like from, I think, like, he runs for Jesmond Joggers or something like that, and he went off fast. And he was like, I have been humbled. Like, there was one bit where we were running next to each other and he was like, I don't know why I did it. He was like, I'm struggling now. And then he kept coming back and like hanging back and going, am I going the right way? And like talking to us. And then when we met Chris before the aid station, Chris had the drone up and he started running up the hill and he's going, don't do that. Don't show off. Like, and I was like, he's run nothing. Like, that's why he's running up the hill. And I spent a bit of time with him. And at the end, we got our photo took and it was nice. Like, there was a nice vibe. When we'd all kind of got into that group, and I was running over the dunes at Alnwick with a postman. He was telling us all about his job, and he knew loads about the area, and he knew the route really well because he runs it quite often with his son. And it was nice. That side of it was nice, just talking to different people at different times. But yeah, it was a good day.
Good. And you were still looking quite strong. I know you'd probably deny that, but you were still looking quite strong at the end when I saw you going around the lake. You had a cracking good finish on you.
That lake, like, me pace did lift because I was like, I am hammering this lake so I can get to that finish line. It's just like, I was going past everyone going, whoever made us run this lake is a bastard. Well, I was laughing my heads off. But I was like, because when you get to Druridge, you could literally carry on going and then you'd be at the finish. But they made us go all the way around the lake to the finish. And it was like another 1.7 miles. And I was just like, I just want this to be over so much. Like, because the drag up to Druridge is so long, like along this it's like this country road. After you go past the dunes and then you're just like on this dirt road, like not looking at anything. And I was just like, I just need to be at the finish now. Like, my legs were still working but I was like, as soon as I saw that lake, I was like, I am going for this. I just want to be done. And I was absolutely keen in it. And I was just like, just need to cross that line. But hey, I was really proud to finish, so.
Good. Oh, congratulations. And I saw a couple of other people while we were up there. I know, Phil, if you're listening, I saw you get round, Chloe and Kieran, and I'm sure there was others. So congratulations to anyone that did get it done, because that was a tough old day. I think, like you say, having that sudden blast of heat, in the middle of the March, and it's gone bloody cold again now.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, it's grim here tonight. None of you can tell, well, you probably can't, because we are the peak of fitness. James and I are literally straight off the back of the run. I'm sat in the shorts here. We've been in about 20 minutes before we hit the record. But it is grim out there tonight. It's freezing.
It is.
Wet.
I'm glad you mentioned James. Let's get on to it, James.
Yes.
Middlesbrough half marathon, which obviously me, you and Scott had done. That was your first half, right?
Yeah.
And?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Never ever thought I'd be running a half marathon. Like you say, been running 9 months now? Yeah. 9 months. 2 10Ks, half marathon in a month and a half, and then the one that shall not be named.
What I'll say about you, James, and I don't know if you've thought of it this way yet, but let's just rewind it. Even 6 months ago, what was your 5K time? What were you knocking out just after you first started?
Averaging 30 to 35 minutes 6 months ago.
35 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You times that by a few, because that's what you, was it times that by 4 to get your half marathon?
Yeah.
So that's 2:20 and plus the extra K at the end.
Yeah.
Really at the speed you're doing there, you're probably talking near 2.5 hours at those speeds you were doing. And that's when you were going all out on a 5K, right? Just 6 months ago or so. And then I know you set yourself a target of 2 hours 20, there or thereabouts, for your first half. Yeah. So already looking at that, thinking, right, 6 months ago I was doing 35 minutes. 2:20 is quite ambitious when you think about it. But what did you get?
2 hours
13 minutes.
Which is how good is that though? Come on, to go from 35 minutes to a 5K to that is phenomenal, mate. Well done.
The run is high on Sunday night. It was like I was like a kid on Christmas morning. I'm not gonna lie.
I love that. My that's quicker than my first half. I did the Great North Run in 2:17.
Yeah.
So, like, to do that in 9 months, James, is like unbelievable.
Isn't it?
Like I say, I was running with sister Caroline and her friend Michael. And we agreed because Caroline was nervous, so we were like, right, we'll just go all at the same pace. We've all planned for 2 hours 20 minutes, and they got the 10K, and I was like, I was not going to have to go. I'm sorry, I needed to like just open up that bit more, and then that was it. The shack was rough, and I was away, and I loved every minute.
Was there any bit in there where you were like, oh, it's getting tough now? It's like towards the end, because it got hilly towards the end, didn't it?
Yeah, it was one little bit, where you come back over on yourself, and then you're literally on the bottom of Albert Road just before the train bridge, where you're on the bridge. And I was like, oh, I thought that's it, I'm going to hit the wall. Then I heard the music, and I was like, no, this is it. And then I just opened it up. And I will be honest, as I was running under that bridge and I seen that finish line, I did get a lump in the throat.
Good.
Good. Like,
love that. Yeah, I love that.
And then we finished and thought it was the best photo that's ever been taken of me.
One of them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. And it was dead.
Brilliant.
You caught us all by surprise, mate, because we're all at the finish at that point. I'm with Scott in that, and Scott's suddenly like grabbing everyone by the shoulder saying, he's here already. Way ahead of where we thought you were going to be, mate. Absolutely awesome run.
Yeah, I didn't feel the need to walk once. I literally thought I was going to hit the wall at that last little corner, and I thought, nah, I'm not running small here, I'm going for it. And I just like, right, like, really said, do not quit.
Did you have any like gels or anything when you were
I
racing?
had some 4 gels from the race, mate. One of them was an electrolyte one, and the other 3 just
Obviously, electrolyte with caffeine, wasn't it? It was a high 5 caffeine boost one.
No, it was SIS. What we were giving them away. They get at the start of the race. I got Michael and Caroline one, lemon and mint flavour, and yeah, never again.
Yeah, some of them are a bit nasty. How are you feeling taking the gels and stuff now that you're getting more into sort of racing?
Fine, mate. The Revolt, and I'll never ever change my opinion on that. I mean, the high 5 one's quite nice, but I don't feel like to do enough as the SIS ones, obviously. But yeah, I mean, if you enjoy taking gels, it's wrong. I
don't think anyone enjoys taking gels. Yeah. I've got some that taste okay, but they're quite like solid, if that makes sense. It's like kind of like eating a packet of ketchup.
Yeah,
is how I've got some goo gels, and they do taste actually quite nice, but they're like pretty solid. And I think I'm actually going to go to the high 5 for my marathon because they're a bit more watery.
More watery.
Yeah, they're more watery and actually got more carbs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like 23 grams of carbs. I mean, this is me being like super loser now, but like most gels are 20 grams of carbs, whereas the high 5 is 23. You can get higher ones, but also high 5 are, quite frankly, they're affordable.
Yeah.
They're like, you get to like, you look at like Molten gels and stuff like that, they're like £3 each. Yeah.
High 5 with water, I think just the orange with water, I quite like the taste of them.
I've got apple. I'm going to try them. I had the orange before, and I found it a bit sharp.
Yeah, I think if you get it, I don't know whether you've had it with just on its own, but with the water, it's not as intense. I took those to the Great Run last year, and because it was quite a warm day, I was like, it was like having an ice pop. It was quite nice. Like it was a bit more palatable because some of them are a bit like, oh. But yeah, I did find, because with the water-based ones are a lot easier to like get down, I think. Definitely. The other thing the same is to take one and then take water straight after, so you're watering it down as you're taking it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How did you carry your gels, James? Did you have like a belt or
not like a bum bag? That people normally like you would the strap at the front, but I find it easier of the strap at the back, and I'm reaching. I'm not looking around me back.
Yeah,
it's like I've got it, you know.
And of course now, James, that I mean, that was your first half marathon, but actually that was just a training run, right?
Yeah.
Because we've got bigger things coming.
Well, tell it. I think you missed this, Freddie. You were recovering in the corner while, like,
So I literally walked over. I got a congratulations, a well done, and then he went, right, go and run it again. I went, what? He went, that's what you do in the leagues. I knew he fell over.
To be fair, I will say this, because everybody says this in the main, right? I've never done a marathon, but whenever they say, like if you run a 10K hard, I'll run it twice and then there's your half. It's bollocks, because we're not running at the same pace. So don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, James, right?
It is it is bollocks. However, the last 5 kilometers of any race, and I don't care what distance, is complete awfulness. Like, as you said earlier, Kayleigh, like the last 3 miles, awful. The last 5K of when I did Race to the Stones was possibly the worst 5K of my life, including me bidding it in a load of rocks. And the last few K of my most recent half marathon, I felt like I was going to melt.
Yeah.
But it's just that never changes. But I think James, importantly, you've got the mindset, which is 99% of it.
Yeah.
I have zero doubt that you will be fine at your like absolutely no doubt. I would put actual money on you being fine and doing it. Do you have a goal in mind or just finish? Like, you don't have to say, but
yeah. Well, 4.5 hours to 4 hours and 45 minutes, and I'll be happy.
Yeah,
just get
what?
on the finish line. And I looked at the route map the other night, and I did send it. And I just, if it's still in the group chat, have a look, because I'm sure on the 20-mile mark there's a 400-foot elevation.
That's just evil.
Really?
Yeah.
Who chose this race for you?
Me.
Did Scott do it?
No,
I had nothing to do with this, man.
I was working nights at the time, and it came up, and I thought, 4 o'clock in the morning, my mind's elsewhere. And I'm like, I'm booking that right now.
See, it's weird when you like I book races all the time, and when I'm booking like a PB race, I'll look at the elevation. When I was looking for like fast marathons, like luckily I've obviously got into London, but I was looking at Newport and Manchester, and the elevation profiles for all 3 of those they're about the same. I think they're like maybe 100 meters in the entire course, maybe probably less than that. I think Newport's like 80 meters. I think Manchester's maybe even flatter. But you look at marathons, you're like, oh, it's 250 meters, 300 meters of elevation. That's hilly. But you look at an ultra, it's like, oh, 3,000 meters over that period of time. That's fairly flat, isn't it? Like, you just become some kind of weirdo. But that for a first marathon. My first marathon was hilly.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
Like, I don't know if I've read the what they call it, planner.
The
elevation profile.
Elevation, I don't know if I've read it wrong or...
I think you're right, because I think it used to be earlier, but they've changed it this year, so it's later in the race, because going back to Brett and Andy, they were talking about it. Someone brought it up on their podcast, and I think it used to be early on, the Altrincham Hill that everyone talks about, but I think they've changed the course slightly so it comes nearer the end now, or it's earlier on where it used to be near the end, so...
Yeah, 20 mile mark. I mean, another 6 mile will go after that 10K. So...
Exactly. I mean, you've done that before. We'll not tell them that the worst bit is they always say that's the worst 6 mile of any marathon, but yeah, you've done it before, James. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Easy.
I'm looking forward to that, mate. I'm really looking forward to doing that.
I think you'll smash it. I really do.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Like the one that shall not be named a month after that. I'm going for the runners' party, shall we say.
Yeah.
But honestly, that is exactly the mindset I had last year. It was an accident, because I bet these idiots, the Manchester Marathon and training plan was already in my legs. Done that. I'd done the Great North Run before that, so the half, then the marathon.
Yeah.
And then back at that, got excited listening to Freddie's experience of the year before, so I ended it. But because of the marathon training, it wasn't as scary as it. I think easier than the marathon.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you say, you can stop and go on even at a slow pace, aren't you? So take it as a party, so get together with a running.
Yeah, you can eat, you can get change, you can do all of that stuff. Have half an hour kip if you want to, you know, whatever you want. But Scott, you obviously in Borough as well, and I think it's fair to say that your running went up a level while you were there.
So I want to dedicate this run to your friend Colin, who said I should run on my own a bit more for myself. So this result, Colin, is for you if you're out there. Still don't fully believe you exist. I thought really he was just trying to get me to run on my own. So I did a 156 last year, and plan was to run around with you. But then I seen Lewis and Theo, who you can obviously talk about shortly when we talk to you, Freddie. I knew those guys were planning on running with you, and I thought, well, and I don't mean this in any way that it sounds, but I thought you don't need me today. Right. And I genuinely thought when I got up that morning, let's just see what I can do. So I got there, and I thought we're going to sit on the 150 pacer, who, by the way, that pacer being slapped on the wrist, he finished, so I finished in 146, 10 minutes off my PB, right? And I stopped at one point to give a Marshall a gel bag that he dropped on the floor in front of me. Otherwise, I'd have been in the 145s because I did 146 and 7, and I looked at the splits, and the split I stopped, picked up was like 19 or 20th K, dropped 12 seconds because I stopped, picked up a gel and give a punch back to the Marshall and start again. But that's not my issue. My issue is I'm doing 146, the 150 pacer was about 5 minutes ahead of me. He was stood at the finish line of the cup of tea. I came through and I did a double take because I thought all the time, I must be ahead of him. Because I can't see him. I can't see him on the horizon. I must be ahead of him. And I was running with a lady called Andrew. I've done a few runs with, similar paces. Her PB's 149 for that race, and she was going for it sub 150, but she was following with me. And we're both thinking, these must be like miles behind us now. We're doing really well here. And the splits are on time to hit 150. And then that bit where you come through the industrial park and there's like an out and back, so you see the fast people come past you. There he goes down the road, about 4 minutes ahead of us. I'm thinking he's got it wrong. So yeah, if you're out there, it's 150.
When you started, did you start with him?
On his shoulder, like closer than I am to James right now. Stood with him in the tent. But talking to Ange after about 1 or 2K, mine drifts, so I'm thinking, stay with him. And then I thought, I must have drifted ahead of him.
Yeah.
And then people around us, when I was bringing up with Ange, talking about it, they were like, oh yeah, we're on for 150, but we don't know where he is. I knew where he was.
Right, I'm going to ask you a question now because obviously I was there on the day and you mentioned a few things that were happening when you were going round. And I want to know what this means for Berlin because the way that you were explaining to me that the run went was, I met my friend Ange. We just casually went around and we were chatting the whole way. We were having a right good laugh. And you still smashed your time down to a 146. Yeah. What's in that tank if you're going to say, do you know what? Don't talk to me. I'm going for it.
Berlin, I'm on my own. I am genuinely on my own for that run. Yeah. I don't know anybody and I don't speak German. So I'm just going to go and see if I can get anywhere close to 140. If I get under that, then I'm retiring. I've completed running. But if I can get close to 140, I'll be over the moon. The 146, I was looking at some of the official race photos, and there's one at the 10-mile mark as I'm going past the transporter bridge. For anyone that's watched Salvia St. Pet, will know what I'm talking about. There's a photo there, and there's people around us look like they're in Pain Cave. And me and Ange, I don't know what we were talking about. We were laughing our heads off. I'm thinking that was the whole race for me. So comfortable. And we were just, because she's such a similar pace to me, if anything, I feel a bit like imposter syndrome because she's been running longer than me and she's got some really good times. She's a brilliant runner. And I just tried to stay with her, but it was comfortable for me to stay with her. And that ran all the way around, and it was completely comfortable. Best way to describe it, a comfortable race.
So what did your pacing come out as per kilometre average?
4:57.
Oh, right, wow.
I know. It doesn't make any sense because we've just come in from a run tonight and we did tempo and we did interval sessions when we were doing a kilometre on, kilometre off. Yeah. And we did a middle kilometre of 5 kilometres, 5 minutes per kilometre tonight. both felt it. We got back, and then I looked at my clock. I was like, "Oh, we did that in 5 minutes." And I'm thinking, "How the hell did I do 21 of those at 4:57?"
Race days in like it just hits different.
Yeah,
like I mean, I know what you mean. By the way, because you were talking, you were definitely not going fast enough then. So Berlin, I'm expecting big numbers, because I can tell you in my half the conversation was, I'm avoiding that puddle, going to stay left. That was about the height of the conversation. I was with my friend the entire time, and we talk complete what's the technical term, bollocks, at all times. You know, but in that I can do it. But I think if you were comfortable, I reckon you could go sub 140 at Berlin, no worries. But also, yeah, the race, you train hard to race easy.
yeah.
Like, because I do, I mean, you follow me on Strava, you see the same similar stuff I do with like marathon pace, and I always find marathon pace stuff and tempo pace stuff like hard in training, because it's meant to feel hard. But on race day, it feels, especially for the first half, it feels like, wow, this is easy. I could just chat and, you know, like, this is lovely. But you've tapered, you've rested, and then you've got your you don't, Scott, because you hate us, but me and Freddie have got our stupid shoes. But you know, I'm sure you have like race gear as well. Like, I have a specific kit that I put on just for racing. There's nothing particularly special. It's just, you know, you get in that sort of mindset, and the electric atmosphere and all the people around you and the announcers and the music and all that cool stuff, and you don't think about the pain. But that's where it's dangerous at the start, when you just go out like an absolute lunatic, and you know. And I've definitely made that mistake, especially when I was younger, and your ego gets ahead of you. But yeah, I think I'm very excited about your Berlin. I mean, there's no pressure, because, you know, it is what it is, and there'll be a lot of people there. But I think you will.
I didn't think it was so big. There's actually, put my pack through yesterday, I think, on email, there's 40,000 in the race. Wow. I don't become victim of what happens at the Great North. It's a great big run. A lot of weaving in and out.
You won't, if you put the right time, you won't, because our family,
the 150.
I think you'll be all right, because I think with the Great North Run, that happens more when you're putting down like your true time naively, because I think I always put 145, yet I've never ran a 145, and I find that then you're in with people who are either faster, so you're moving. Like, I think it's when you're not sure the first time you do it, like, you learn with the Great North Run. I think you'll be fine. On that as well, I was at Borough Half with Chris spectating.
That's what
like, every time I saw you, you were just like having the time of your life. You didn't even look like you were running hard. He was going, "You've seen Rachel, she's doing really well." Like, as he ran past, and at the end he was like, "Woo." And I was like, "You have not just run a half, like, just looked like he was just like cruising around, like having a jolly, like, it was great."
You know what I was laughing at, right? So the lady I ran with, Anne, she runs for Borough Runners. I swear to God, it was like running with an A-list celebrity, because it's a middle run. Everybody kept shouting for Anne, you know. I'm laughing, going, it's like running with a celebrity. And I hadn't heard anybody shout, "Go on, Scott," all afternoon. And then I seen you pop up. As I was coming around the corner from the transporter, I seen you and Chris. I was like, "Get in, somebody finally knows me." And I'm like, "Seeing Rachel back there." And then you popped up again later on somewhere else on the bus. That's a great idea, that.
We moved around. We were at the beginning, so I'd seen you at the beginning, but I missed Freddie, but Chris saw Freddie. Yeah. And then we were in the bit where it was the out and back.
Yes.
And then we stayed at the finish, like, for quite a while.
Yeah.
I didn't see James. I must have just started walking towards the finish, because the time, we stuck around quite a long time. So for you to get that time, I think we must have been walking, so I'll have had me back there as you were coming in, because I was looking, I knew you were running it, but once we saw Freddie, because we'd been stood on that corner, it was so cold. Like, we'll start edging towards the finish line and we'll try and get people coming in there.
Like going up, it was like, nah, obviously I don't even sound disgusting, but my back was snorting, so when that cold breeze, like, I'm off with you.
It was really, it must have like a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we'd seen Freddie, we started walking up, so I must have literally just missed you. Like, oh, you've come in at the same time, like when we've been walking, but it was a really good day. Such a good course to spectate, but like, But yeah, Scott, you just looked like you were just there, like having a whale of a time. It was just great. You were just like,
what's your
right? So
what's
there we go. That was for Colin.
yeah.
what's your plan though, Scott? I don't mean don't give me your expected finish time, but what I'm more interested to see, what are you planning to go out at to start? So because you got 4:57 average here, is that the sort of pace you're going to go out at?
Jamie mentioned it the other weekend. So his plan of the 8:85. So tried to do that. I went off on an easy 8. Then I went a quick 8, and then I went all out in the last 5. I'm still all out, but you're going to think I'm lying because I'm laughing and joking and chatting all around. But for me, I felt like lengths were going quicker than they used to. Just it wasn't hard because of all the training I've been doing with them. All this zone 2 running I'm doing with James, and that's not derogatory. Like, James is slower than I, but it's making me slow down and paying off dividends for race days. Don't know if I could do full 40. Yeah, do that.
Have you done any training at that pace?
Yeah. So the interval training I'm doing is not with James. It's in here on that treadmill over there, and doing 440, and then easing off. Doing, I think we're up this week. It's 6 800s, isn't it?
Yeah.
6 800s at that pace. Well, I'll need a bucket beside the treadmill at the end.
I mean, the only thing, the thing that I like, that I found that works really well for me for like training for specific races, is practicing that race pace in the goal race sort of run, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like your long run for a half marathon would be, say, I don't know, 15, 20K, whatever. It could be 25K because they do go over. And then you would do 5K. So you do like 5K easy, 5K at goal pace, then 5K easy, then 5K goal pace, and then like 2K easy. Because it gets you used to running at that pace. But it gives you that big stimulus as well. And you kind of, it's kind of almost like an interval session. I mean, from a training load, it's counted as an interval session. But like that will, I mean, yeah, if you're going at 440, yeah, it will suck.
Oh yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
Like it will suck. Like 440 is not hanging around.
Well, that's this is going to be my gold. I thought, is it the gold race or your A race for the year?
Yeah.
Well, this is the one I want to do. But then in Copenhagen as well now for next year. Super Classics number 2. If I get into that, I'm going to try and tick off one a year between all 5 or 6. And
Nice.
they've just removed there used to be a 5-year limit on it. 5 years to do them all. Because of the demand and it's getting popular, they've moved the official time frame on it, obviously, as long as you like to do them all. So it's not impossible. So yeah, Copenhagen, if I get this one done in one piece, Copenhagen next year, touch wood.
Just ask a question before we move on to like Freddie's. It was just for James, really, because you know when you were saying about the zone 2 stuff, James, like you doing like zones 2 stuff on your own as well, or is Scott running at your zone 2 pace when you're training together?
When I go out on my own, I'll do zone 2.
Yeah, just because the only reason I'm asking is because like I was really terrible at it. We were talking about this on the last podcast. And the difference, like when I knew I was going to do the ultra, when I started training for the Great North, when I started putting zone 2 in, and I can't believe like the difference it makes. So that's what I was going to say.
What were you doing before doing zone 2?
I couldn't run a zone 2. Everything was in zone 3 upwards. Just couldn't run a zone 2.
That's crazy.
Well, it is. But like, you know what everyone always says, the analogy of like run slower to run faster. Everyone that I run with is faster than me. I don't run with anyone. Like, so I'll keep up with them at a chatty pace, but I'm like really having to like push. So I just couldn't get. Well, first I think it's because my heart rate zones weren't set properly on my watch. So then when I started doing it properly, I changed the heart rate zones, and that made it loads easier. And now Chris, when he does his easy run, he does it at my zone 2 pace. So on a Tuesday, we'll go out together and just do a 4-mile loop while we do it at my zone 2 pace. But I've found like the difference is phenomenal, and they're my favourite runs now, whereas I used to hate it before. I'd be like, can't run in zone 2, it's crap, can't do it. That's why I was asking Jim.
Well, they're the best runs, like, and it becomes like the zone 2 addiction is real, like especially for me, because and it's for anyone because you get faster in your zone 2.
Yeah.
And then like when you start getting like faster and faster, you're like, oh, it's like now this month is 5 seconds a K faster, and that is crack to me. I love that. And I love zone 2 runs.
I did notice it towards the end of the block. Like it wasn't by much, maybe about 20 seconds, like a mile. Because I don't work in K's. I know you're all talking in K's, and it's like maths for me. But like, I noticed that. But I just think it's just so nice to go out and come back and not be sweaty.
Yeah,
I like about it.
Definitely.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Go on then, Freddie. Tell us about your race. Let's have it.
Oh, you jump on YouTube. There's a video all about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've already watched that video though.
You know,
I had it's fair to say I had a race of 2 halves, or 2/3 and a third. But I had a really good day. There's no two ways about it. I had a really, really good day. I really enjoyed myself. It's just the last 7K sucked. I think it's fair to say that was all. Great start. Got going probably a touch quicker than I should have been.
Before we get to that though, like, what was the strategy? Because obviously, were you always planning on running with your wingmen on it, or did you just? Because I went to warm up. I thought I need to get away from you guys to get focused on getting warmed up because I knew I wanted to do something on my own. So I kind of left you in the group photo. When did you decide you were running with us? Did you have a strategy?
Yeah, no. So go straight right back to the beginning. You shot off, and then Theo and Lewis came with me to the start line. And it was at that point they said, "Oh, we're going to run with you," and I was like, "Oh, great!" But I also said, "Look, guys, you are both quicker than me. Don't feel obliged to stay with me. If you're having a good day or whatever, just go. I'm quite happy. I train mostly by myself anyway. I'm quite comfortable that way." But they were like, "No, we're staying with you right till the end." And fucking hell, I'm glad they did, because the last 7K might not have happened if they weren't there. Is the truth. But the aim was quite clear. I said to them, "Look, I can see the 2-hour guy. We could see the 2-hour guy. He was a little bit in front of us, but I said my aim is let's get across the line. We'll catch him up, and I want to stay with the 2-hour guy, and then get to the second half, see how that feels, and go from there. That was the plan. Anyway, we were behind him. We caught him up probably 2 or 3Ks into it. We caught him up, so we didn't catch him up too quickly. We just ate away at it and got up to him. So those first couple of kilometres were already a little bit quicker than we wanted because we had to catch him up. But then the truth is, we got with him and we stayed with him for a little bit. Then somebody fell over in the group. It happened behind us. The guy with the flag on his back was literally just behind us. But somebody fell over. We just kept running because there was a bit of carnage. And the next thing we know, we look around and the 2-hour guy's not there anymore. So when this person fell over, I think the flag bearer was involved in it, because then when we did see him again, he was actually holding the flag in his hand, and someone else had the rucksack part on their back. So something nasty happened, and at that point we were just moving away from him. And this is where I think I might have made a mistake, because I was feeling so good. I was looking down at my pace, thinking, "Well, this is easy." And honestly, I probably in my own mind, if I'm being really honest with myself, probably got a little bit cocky. And in my head, I was like, I've got sub 2 sewn up here. I genuinely felt that way. Coming up to halfway, I thought, I've got it sewn up. I think halfway we had a 3 or a 4 minute buffer. So even in my head, I was like, okay, if it goes wrong, I've got 3 or 4 minutes. That's a long time. It can't go that badly. How wrong I was. But I got to 15K. It's about there. It's about there where you go. Do you know when you come up the ramp past the stadium?
To North, yes. You leave North Hillsbury, then you head over past Middlesbrough football ground, and there's like that bridge over the motorway. That
bit was fine. Coming down from there, and then probably half a K later, I was like, "Oh, I'm in trouble here. I can feel it, and I could feel it coming on quite quickly." Actually, I was suddenly, legs were great, my breathing was great. I just could feel that I was running out of energy. As simple as that. I'd had a gel at 5K. I use SIS Beta, which are great. These have actually got 40 grams of carbs in them. So I was using these. I had one at the start line, I had one at 5K, and I had one at 10K. Anything after that, I just could not put anything in my mouth. I actually even struggled to put water in my mouth. I just didn't want it. And I felt like if I put anything in my mouth, I'm going to be sick. I don't care what it is, I'm going to be sick. So I just couldn't take anything on board. For those who don't know, I'm on Manjaro. If you don't watch my videos, I'm on Manjaro, which is a weight loss injection, and I've just gone up a dose. So it was a week before the race, I'd gone up a dose to the 10 milligrams. And when you buy 10 milligrams online, it basically comes up with a little pop-up saying, right, you've now got to what we consider a serious dose, where you're nearly at the maximum being 15. And we have to ask you a few more questions to make sure that you are okay to take this. And the chances are you're going to see a big difference in the side effects, right? And in your mind, you're thinking, well, I'm only going from 7.5 to 10. It can't be that much of a difference. But my bloody God, it's a huge difference. It feels almost like day one. When I first started taking it, it was a big sort of, all of a sudden you've got no appetite, which was for me really unusual for starters. And that happened again with the 10 milligrams, and it made that whole build up to the run really difficult for me to get enough food in. Because even last night, I'm sat having a meal and I get halfway through what is already a small portion, and I can't finish it. Which is not great, especially when you're trying to train for long runs. So I really paid the penalty for that during the half. Like I say, got to that sort of 15, 16, 17K, knew it was falling apart. And then it became a run walk just to get back. And then people like you piss me off because before it, you're giving it, it's a flat and fast. And James backed me up here, but that last few Ks was not flat and not fast.
One word for you, more.
Fair one. Touche. That's fair. But no, it wasn't the last. Yeah, I was just physically done at that point. But I get.
I was stood with your good lady wife at the end, and she was tracking you, and you had like a mile to go, and you had like 10 minutes to hit that sub 2, and I thought, I'm there with the champagne and cigar thinking he's going to smash this. I didn't know. Looking back in the video now, I know what you were going through, but at the time I was like, he's absolutely tore this apart. Yeah. You still did tear apart your old PB, let's be honest. You absolutely annihilated that. But yeah, with 10 minutes to go, I thought, this is in the bag, easy. Knowing now what I know, I understand why it was a struggle. And watching that video, I agree, Lewis and Theo absolutely kicked your ass at that Albert Road.
They were absolutely brilliant, mate. I'm not just saying it to blow smoke up their ass, but from the minute that they said go to the minute that I crossed the line, they just didn't leave my side. And when I was going through it, they were telling me keep going, and it was honestly, yeah. And I don't just say it to say it, but I genuinely got to the point where I might not have finished. I mean, Jamie, I was laughing before when you said, we go for it and our heart rate's at 170. I'm like, my average was 184.
Yeah, I was tracking you, and I was like looking at your heart. I'm like, I would literally keel over at that heart rate.
I didn't get to my max. I got close to it. I got to at 200 beats a minute. I got to my max is 202. So I did get to it, and that was the hills near the end where I was getting that. But that shows you I was working hard to get, and you know what? I didn't get sub 2, but it also didn't matter because I had nearly a 7-minute PB. How can I be upset with that?
Yeah, exactly. Well done.
Yeah.
You ran walk, and you still shaved 7 minutes off.
Yeah, and I'm really glad it happened as well. And that might sound sort of weird, but I'm really glad it happened because it's forced me to analyse what I'm doing now with this weight loss stuff. And I have to make a decision on what's more important to me right now. And is it to continue to get to my goal weight or get fast times? And it's not like the marathon's coming up. The question isn't, can I finish the marathon? Because of course I can. I've done marathons back to back last year. So I'm not worried about can I finish it. It's can I finish it in a time that I want to finish it in. So I have to decide if that's what I want to do or not. And if I care about the time or do I just care about getting around versus losing the weight. and stay in what I'm doing. So I am actually experimenting at the moment. I'm moving my injection day this coming week. Normally I do it on a Friday. So I chose Friday right at the beginning specifically so that I had the highest suppression over a weekend, because that's probably the time where I'm going to eat crap. I'm going to have alcohol or something like that. Although I haven't had alcohol for 18 and a half weeks now, which is cool. But I chose Friday for that very reason. I think now I need to try and move it to the Monday. So I'm going to have my injection on I'm going to push it to essentially 10 days. So I have my injection on Monday. Then by the time I get to my Sunday long run, it's where the injection's at its weakest. Hopefully I can fuel for it and see how that goes. Failing that, I'm going to look at reducing my dose. Because I even did a long run on Sunday just gone, which was 23K. And that was at easy pace. And after 17K, I struggled again. And that was all slow. I mean, I did it. I didn't, I got around it. It was fine. There was no time cut off or anything. But I could feel in myself that I was struggling to do it. So yeah, I'm actually really glad it's happened in a way, because I've got to reevaluate what I'm doing and how I'm going to do it, especially in the build up to the words that I get told off as saying. The one in yeah.
Again, Kieran, I was like really concerned when I saw you, like genuinely, not because like you look like you're going to keel over, but you just normally if someone cheers you, you react. And I saw you and I saw Lewis, but I didn't see Theo, so I feel bad because I shouted at Lewis, but I didn't see Theo until the video, and I was like, oh, how did I miss Theo? And I shouted, go on, Freddie, go on, Lewis. And Lewis was like laughing his head off, and I was going to Chris, Freddie's like in pain. There's something not right here. And then that was why afterwards I'd messaged and I was like, is Freddie okay? Because I didn't know you'd got the PB. I didn't even know what time you were on at that point. But I'd said to Chris, I was like, I'm really concerned. Like, I've not seen Freddie like that before at the end of a race.
Right.
And then obviously you got the PB, which is amazing. So like you said, it doesn't matter that you didn't break two. There's plenty of time to break two. And you got a huge PB, which is unreal. But yeah, when I saw you, I was like, oh, and I didn't know how your race had gone because I'd only seen you at the start and then didn't see you at the switch over points because we'd moved to the end. But yeah, I'm really over the moon for you. But I'm glad. I'm glad in a way that it's made you think about things, because I just think you don't want to be putting yourself in that position, not over a marathon.
No, the last K, definitely the last K. I don't really remember it, and I didn't see you guys at the end.
Yeah,
Lewis and Theo told me.
You just looked like like you hadn't seen us, like you were in your own little world, and all I was thinking was, if you take the fueling aside, I thought maybe you'd just really push and it was hard because it was the last part of the race. But knowing like me, if I can see the finish line, I'm like, right, it's just there. Let's get this done. And I've seen you like that before when we watched you at Sunderland Half. You were like, the finish is just there. But you just looked like you just...
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Didn't know what it was night or day. I was like, oh my God, I hope he's okay.
Lewis said to me, he genuinely got worried at the end that I was gonna collapse. I was close to falling over. I didn't know which way was up and down, is the truth. And we got to the end, and I sat down, and Scott and I can't remember who else, might have been you, James, I don't remember, but someone had to help me get off the floor because I was going too dizzy. Trying to get up, I was just too dizzy.
Ginger biscuits they were handing out at the end. They came over to get them down your neck quick because you look really
tasty. You can see it in the video.
Yeah, no, definitely. But hey, I'm gonna brag a little bit and say I didn't just get a PB. I think I got 5 that day. I even got a 10K PB that day.
Oh, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
On 10 mile, I took 10 minutes off my 10-mile PB as well.
Yeah. No, I got a 10K, a 20K, a 15K PB. I think it's Strava just lists them all, doesn't it? They were all in there. So I can't say anything negative about the performance. I just wish I had a more pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But I know at the end you tried to do a piece to camera and your emotions were all over because your body was shot. But on reflection now, looking back just on that piece, how good was the end? That group of people we were with, all afternoon.
Amazing.
Chris and Kayleigh, G and Meal. This doesn't sound like I love him now, thing, but it's not. It's just what is happening, and what has happened over the last 12 months to get to where we are with this little corner of the internet we've seen to have ended up meeting these people, and it was just brilliant, wasn't it? I've got a positive vibe from it, and I was happy with my time, but I was more happy about how it went and those people.
Was it feel good factor, Ryan?
Yeah.
Like a euphoric feeling that I'd done my first half marathon in 9 months of running.
Yeah.
But it was the aftermath of everyone just like being together, and it was like, oh, God.
He actually messaged me as well. I'm going to swear it. Like hours and hours and hours after, all I thought was, how fucking good is running?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Well, it's like you say, mate. I mean, a year ago, we were all pretty much strangers, right? We were all strangers. And I was buzzing to get my PB, but I was equally buzzing that you got yours. And I was equally buzzing that James got his.
Yeah.
The buzz was the same buzz, you know, and your sister, I met your sister on that day. And just the fact that it was her first half marathon in 18 years and she did it, buzzing, absolutely buzzing for her. So the community that you get from it is just, it just hits different.
Got a couple of mates now between the team.
Well, yeah, you picked them up in the background on camera. My mate Alex has on and off ran over the years, but he's not ran for a good pre-COVID, put it that way. Anyway, he came just to give us a bit of support, and he popped up just after where you guys were, Kayleigh, Chris, my mate Alex was on the estate, and I see him, was like, oh, and then he walked out to finish it. He's seen us all coming in. He's got the bug. He's been out running twice. He's done 2 parkruns with us since. He's totally like once in on this action.
I've seen him on the marathon. I ran at him. I noticed, and I ran over to him. It was like a scene after he dancing, like twist. I went, I'll see you at.
So he's got the bit between his teeth now. He wants in on this, so we're meeting him again. He's doing another parkrun this weekend. That'll be 3 since he came to watch.
Yes.
It's unreal.
Yeah. But I said it on the video, I've said it to their faces, but I'll say it again here as well. Theo and Lewis, thank you guys. It was absolutely phenomenal what you did that day. Because I even remember saying to one of them, it was, I don't know, about 18K, and I was like, guys, just go and finish your race. You've got so much left in your leg. Go and have some fun. But they wouldn't go. They just stayed with me. So yeah, two top fellas. Top fellas.
Amazing.
But that's another thing. We've been speaking about it for so long now. When we first started, we started doing it a while ago. We used to have the social runs, and we would meet up once a month or whatever it was. And we did that a few times, and we keep saying let's do that again. And we're on about changing it though to a park run and a park run meetup. I think that's a better idea, specifically because everybody can do that. I know some of the other social runs we did, we ended up doing like 16 miles or something stupid.
One we accidentally did of 16 miles.
Yeah. We got a bit carried away with ourselves, and we were lucky enough that day that everyone was able to. But I think that could also put people off.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to pull the trigger on this and say, you know, even if it's once a month, something like that, once every 6 weeks, let's pick a park run somewhere and all meet up and go and run it together and have a catch up afterwards. Let's actually get it in a diary and get it announced and get people involved.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That was good. I feel like we should talk to Jamie now.
No, it's fine. Like this episode is not anything about me. I'm quite happy listening to all your stories. I've done nothing exciting the last 2 weeks apart from run.
How's your training going for London?
Yeah, it's going really well. Yeah, I'm at the longest runs now. So 37K for my long runs now. So I had my biggest mileage week last week of the year. So that was exciting. Like
that's a long run. No?
Yeah, my long runs are like 30. Yeah, they're 37K, and I've got 4 of them.
Wow.
And they've got like half of them are marathon pace. So you're going around like, yeah, they do hurt.
Is that because you're following a training program that tells you to do that, or is that because you're a freaking idiot?
No, the sub 3 plans are very high mileage. Like, yeah, so they peak at, well, I go slightly over the plan because I do slightly longer runs in the week, but they peak at like 120, but I'm on 135 kilometer weeks now. But yeah, it's going well. The speed work's going well. Because that's
you are absolutely loving those Dios slides, aren't you?
Oh mate, I wore them this morning for my tempo run, my race car shoes. Yeah, I had a banger of a run this morning actually in those. That was a really good speed session. It was 4 times 8 minutes at tempo pace, with 2 minutes of like easy jog in between. And those shoes, like, they're just so great, like, and they're so cheap, like, because they got that light strike foam, but they got no carbon rods or anything in them. But you can really feel, and they weigh like nothing, so you can like really put the pedal down. And they're like super fun to run in, and they just look rad because they're red.
The light strike that's in them, is it the same as the Pro 4, or is it the same as the Bostons? Because there's two generations.
The Bostons have got half light strike and half
Yeah.
like the cheaper like plastic. That's why they feel a bit more solid, whereas these ones are like the full light strike.
Nice.
So for like £100 what they cost, it's great. Like and they're such good shoes. They feel like slippers. Just like that's the value of them is what's impressed me the most. But yeah, like training's going well. I just need to I've got I think 3 more weeks of peak before taper. But it's just holding it together. You know, when your body starts to feel a bit achy and just, you know, like I wake up and I get like a stiff foot, and I was like, oh, it's just, you know, just another few more weeks, and then you can start bringing it down. And yeah, I keep thinking about it, and it's really, I don't know if you guys do this. I might be a bit sad, but like, I like to visualize crossing the finish line. And like crossing the finish line in London, I look at my watch and my heart rate literally goes up, like, and this is not an exaggeration, like 15 to 20 beats. Like just thinking about like crossing it, like Horse Guards Parade, and like hopefully getting what I want.
With a ribbon across your chest as Kipchoge's chasing you.
Yeah. As I set that 2 hour and 1 minute marathon time, yeah. Yeah, as I'm running that, was it the 2:50? Was it like the just under 3 kilometer pace? Yeah, no worries. I can definitely run that for nothing. But yeah, it's just I'm so excited about it. I can't wait. And then I'm also starting to think about South Downs Way 100 now as well, because that's starting to come up. And also, I'm very excited because Freddie's coming down here He's coming down south.
You're really excited to spend time with Freddie. I'm
going to be so excited. Well, because I've got a little plan for us. It's going to be great. Well, I'm hoping me and Freddie will definitely be able to run the Reading course. Which we'll be able to do together.
I was like, you look like you were going to say we're going to do 100 miles together.
No, we're not, because I'll be tapering for South Downs Way, so I'll be doing not a lot. But I'm using the Royal Week. Plan on running Reading, because I think you want to do that anyway, as you mentioned. And I can give you the grand tour where I spend way too much time.
Can you remember what time? I know I sent it to you the other day. What time was my morning shift on the Saturday? Do you remember?
It's midday till something, I think, or 11 a.m.
So parkrun.
Parkrun, because parkrun that was my other plans. We're going to do parkrun Saturday morning, because Newbury Parkrun is literally 10 minutes from Wasing.
Brilliant.
So, and it's a really nice parkrun, Newbury Parkrun. It's got a lot of tourists there. We had a lot of tourists there this week.
Is it flat?
It's fairly flat, yeah.
Let's try and get me a PB again.
Sure, just...
Why not?
Okay, so I'm more than happy to do this for you. Just the way out is ever so slightly downhill.
Oh, so it's not flat? You lied?
No. It's like pretty flat. Like, it's pretty flat. It's not like Scott flat, where like you say flat and it's not like a 300-meter climb. But there is a slight lump on the last kilometre of Newbury Parkrun on the way back. You'll be able to find the elevation profile, but there's a slight lump, and it annoyingly does drag pretty much to the finish. So you got to not overcook it, but I'll happily guide you around it.
Try.
And we're like, get you a PB, and and unlike Scott's pacer, we'll go with like an actual pace, not some like 140, 150 pacer, some stupid.
Honestly,
like,
yeah. I want to.
That's wild. Pacers normally come in like dead on. I mean, I know they're just volunteers like me, you, or anyone, and pacers run faster than their pace time, obviously. But
I came in nearly 5 minutes ahead of what I was planning on it, and I was following the splits getting on that. And he was stood, calm as you like, up against the railing, past the medal section with his flag still on his back, chatting away to his fellow marshals. So I'm thinking, you've got this wrong, mate. Big time.
Here's a question then about that. because I mean I've paced a couple of races and I've been quite lucky that I've managed to get them pretty much bang on. Does your watch have a big impact on that? Like, and I mean this in the nicest way. If you've got a really high-end watch that uses different systems that calculate where you are, compared to maybe a more basic watch that might just use single GPS satellite or whatever, is that going to make much of a difference when you're maybe not on your ultimate distance, but when you're looking down at your pace that you're currently running? Would that have a big impact? Where for him, he might have been looking at his...
Not for that time difference.
No?
Not for that time difference.
He was probably 10 minutes ahead of what he should have been.
That'd be well out. Like,
on the patch to his wrist.
You'll see it even with our watch, Freddie, because I get it when I'm like this morning. I don't know if you've ever done intervals and argued with the watch, because I certainly have many times. I was doing my tempo run this morning. I was running under trees. I was like, this is not 4-minute K pace. Like, I'm dying. And like, and then as you come out of the trees, this is like 3:20. So as it like readjusts, and obviously you're not doing either of those paces. You're sort of in between somewhere. But when you're in between like large buildings, obviously it does adjust it. But I find it does knock the K when it's like, or mile, if we're talking for Kayleigh. But it tends to log that accurately. I think the actual just pace at the time. I'm not sure how the algorithm works. I'm not going to get that nonsense, but it knocks the K out pretty accurately. And you can roughly tell. You can, if you're pacing, like I've got quite a few screens on my watch, and most basic watches you can flick through various screens, and I have like current lap time as well as one of my things, especially when I'm racing, so I can see the lap time. And when you run a lot, like all of us do, if I took all of your watches away from you now and said go run a zone 2 run, you would run roughly your zone 2 pace, right? Because you know what it is. But I can tell instantly when I'm starting to go into zone 3 because your breathing becomes ever so slightly laboured.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can tell that unless you're not feeding very well or something. So, yeah, your pacer, Scott, I've never heard of anyone go like 10 minutes. That's wild.
Well, I'm sorry. I tried to help you out, Mr. Pacer, but he didn't let you get away with it.
Before we start to wrap, can I ask, Kayleigh, what trainers did you use for the Ultra, and are you ready to retire them and look at them in nostalgic now?
No, I actually love them. I used my Nike Garmin 2s, which I got for Christmas. I was between them and the Ultraflies, but the reason I chose them is because the Ultraflies have got a plate in, and sometimes I get a very slight blister under my big toe, so they're all right if I'm doing like a faster trail race or a cross country. They're a great shoe, but the Garmin 2s are like literally like cushions on your feet. They were lovely. And to be fair, I used to really struggle with like getting blisters on my toes, and after the full race, I mean, I could feel my toes were a bit sore probably at like 28-ish miles, but the blisters are hardly anything that I had this time. And my trainers, I've got the best invention ever, right? I bought this thing called Chris bought it. I'm not going to lie, I didn't buy it, but I saw it. Chris was like, I'll order one of those. And it's called a mud doctor or a mud buddy or something. It's not like a boot buddy. It's like a pumped up boot buddy. So it's basically like, it looks like a petrol canister, right? You pour water in the end, and it's got like this like tube on it with a brush, right? And you pump it, so you like pressurize the can. And then when you spray it, it like is a brush with spray, so you can get all the mud off your trainers. It's unreal, right? It'll be so good for cross country. And like, look, give my trainers a little mud buddy on a Monday morning. They look good as new. You wouldn't even know they'd ran 34 mile or whatever it was. So I won't be retiring them. I'm going to keep running in them. Well, when I can actually run again, I'll maybe get them out for nostalgia. But,
he could borrow that.
I've got boot buddy.
Have you?
Yeah.
So he came around mine the other day and we were running his Boston's, and he did his big first ever double figure run a few weeks ago. His Boston's looked like they've been in a slasher horror movie. There's blood all over them.
Well, I have a boot buddy, James, but I honestly, if you ever want to upgrade, I'm all about this. I can't remember. I'll send one of you the link after, but it's either the Mud Doctor or it wasn't that expensive, but it's really good. It's used like in the advert, people like cleaning their dog's paws with it, but like I was like, no, it's for trainers. JJ'd be looking at us going like, what are you doing, mum? Like, put that away. to the trainers, but it's really good. But yeah, everyone needs one. Everyone needs one. I should be on a commission. I'm not.
I cleaned my alpha flies with a toothbrush after working them. You laugh, but like they sat there. They're not being touched until London. They're just sat there in the corner at the moment. But I literally clean them with a toothbrush to get them that clean. My daily trainers, though, my Bostons, they don't. They look like they've done some miles now. They don't do them in clean colorways. They're all like white on top, so they just get filthy dirty from running down like canal paths and stuff. I can never be bothered to clean my actual daily running shoes. I'm way too lazy.
I nearly bought some trainers today. It was a sad day. Because they had some Takumi Sen 10s in Start Fitness for 99 quid. Oh. And I was like, I really want a session shoe. Like I feel like I've got trainers boxed off now. I know what works, I know what I like, but I really want a new session shoe. And they had one pair in like lime green and they were unreal. And they were 6.5. And I was like, have you got any other sizes? And he went, yeah, I'll go and get them. And then he was like, I know all we've got left is like the 120 quid, or 150 quid and the 170 quid or 200 and odd quid. And I was like, do you know what? I was just here for the bargain. Like, it's okay. I'll pass, thanks.
I had the pink version in my hand in the male's running shoe section in Sports Direct, and I ready or not because I was about an hour ahead of him in the macro centre. I sent him a photo. Can we send 10? In Sports Direct was 89 quid last week. Didn't have in my size. Right. And like a very light pink, they're almost like a white that had gone off with a red sock in the washing machine, that kind of thing. And I thought, for 89 quid, I am getting these. Yeah, they only had like 7. So
annoying. I'm going to go and see my friends in Up and Running who always look after us and try a few on because I don't know what I want, but like I'm going to need something now. I'm not ultra training anymore. I have to rediscover what Zone 5 feels like, which is good.
It's never a fun zone.
No, well, do you know what it is, right? I spent, like I was saying to you before, I couldn't run in Zone 2. And every run at some point I'd be in Zone 5. And I did that whole ultra run with nothing in Zone 5, which shows the difference I've made. But the thought of running that hard, just...
You have to really switch over, because I had a year of ultras last year, and I spent most of it in Zone, like the vast majority of it in Zone 2.
Yeah.
Because and then the thought of just going faster. Whereas now I'm almost contemplating, like, quite enjoying the fast... Not short races, because I'm looking at marathons, but like, it's quite nice doing that. Just a little hack, by the way, for anyone who is buying shoes or running equipment. The very famous British running store, Sports Shoes, which is where most people get their sports shoes from. If you're a member of a running club, you get like quite a lot of money off. Like, it's worth being a member of a running club just to get that discount, not sponsored, but you get like 15% off.
So section now as well, they have a Vitality Insurance tab. My sister's a member of Vitality. Once a year, sportshoes.com, you get 50% off one pair of trainers.
Oh,
Vitality
really?
tab.
I'd be on a pair of Alpha Flies or Vapor Flies for that.
50%. It's a lot, isn't it?
That'd be...
It's on their website itself through a browser, not the app. A Vitality tab, you click that, you membership number and whatever, you 50% off once a year.
I think sports shoes are the best if you like, I know you like it's got the Nike Trail stuff.
Yeah.
Only place I think you can ever get the decent stuff. And then when they have a sale, they really like knock everything down. Because everywhere else you either can't get it or...
Well, they're Vapor Flies, which is their sort of like half marathon to marathon race carbon shoe. Is because the Vaporfly 4, which I am definitely buying, is coming out in a month or so. They've got all the announcements on the site already. The Vaporfly 3s are now like 40% off. Like, so they're like 160 quid for like a top spec carbon race shoe.
Oh.
Like absolute banger. And you can always get the sizes on there as well. They must be like a main Nike dealer because that's where I get my, because I race in Nikes. Okay. I don't use Nikes for anything else. But I love their race shoes. Like, they're absolutely amazing. But yeah, well worth becoming a member of a running club, even just to get the discount.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd save that per year, easy.
Right.
For sure. Right.
Plus it's fun.
Anybody got anything else you want to bring up before we call it a day?
Anyone got anything that they're working towards other than marathon now? Marathon?
Yeah.
Stuff to argue yourself in 5,000 health insurance before you marathon.
Yeah.
Miles.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a 10k race coming up in like 2 weeks, which
Target for that?
well, I got third place last year, so read into that what you will. Overall, so it's only a local one though, so it's not exactly. But there's a run club near Newbury AC, and they've got some insane people that run. They've got like 33-minute 10kers, and if they turn up, you
know what?
You got no chance.
I wouldn't care if I entered a race and there was only 3 people in it and I came third. I would be saying I came third and I'd be celebrating.
I've got the proof here. Look, I've got the little trophy and everything.
Look at that.
Woo!
Hey.
But yeah. So I've got that coming up in a couple of weeks. But it's 3 weeks before London, so I've got to try not to just kill myself in it.
Yeah.
Because it's like semi-trail as well. But I'm going to wear my Vaporflies for it. So.
Before we clock off, then I'm just going to ask you that. Then, how are you going to approach that? Because that is frighteningly close to London, where I would say, Jamie, please just take it easy and have a nice easy run. But what are you going to end up doing?
So I've actually thought a lot about this. This is actually weighed on my mind a lot. So I'm going to do my long run on like Thursday, because it's like a long run. It's like a 37k run again. So I'm going to do that on Thursday. Have Friday fairly easy, like probably 10k, and then probably like just 10k, 15k on Saturday, and then Sunday. First of all, I'll see who turns up, and if it's the same sort of bunch as last year, I'll probably go for it. But I mean, I'm not gonna go like to the wall in it though. I'm not gonna risk London for like a 10k local race. Like, worst case, I've been obviously Googling this and all sorts, like what do people think? And I might do it at like sort of tempo sort of pace, which is still a good crack.
I'm going to say this is your friend. Consider not doing it.
I can't not do it because it's run. The reason I can't not do it is because it's run by a good friend of mine who's like kids goes to the school and everything, and he like knows me personally and he loves it when I run it, and my wife's running it as well.
Wrong with your wife?
Yeah, I could be sensible and do this.
We all know he's going to race it. I'm telling you, start like with his elbows out like this. I've got this.
I do really struggle with racing. Like, I am hyper competitive. It's very hard for me to not race it. Like, I managed to not do it at parkrun at the weekend. But of course you end up running next to some bloke, and then of course you got beat.
Wear a t-shirt that says, I'm running London soon. I am fast, but I'm taking it easy today. Please leave me alone. And then run with your wife. Please take it easy.
Yeah. And just so we know, podcast listeners, like, you know, people say I'm fast, and I'm fast relatively to some people, but there's many, many, many people who are faster than me around here. Many people who make me look very slow.
Well, I can hand on. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I am the fastest runner on my street. It's all relative, right?
I'm not even the fastest runner around my house.
Are you the fastest female runner in your house?
I am.
There you go then. It doesn't matter because it's completely different categories. So what race do you know where they put the men and the women in the same category?
This is true.
So therefore you are the fastest runner in your house.
Okay, thanks, Jamie.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Right, super. Right, thanks everybody. Thanks for sticking around for the last hour and a half and listening to us waffle on about all things running that we love. Hopefully we'll catch you again soon. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.